Peppa Pig at hospital! Oh no, Peppa Pig is feeling very sick today. She has a high fever, and Mummy Pig is terribly worried. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig quickly help Peppa into the car and drive straight to the hospital.
Huh?
Outside the examination room, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig wait anxiously, their faces filled with worry. Inside, the doctor checks Peppa carefully and prepares medicine for her. Slowly, drop by drop, the medicine flows into Peppa's body, helping her fever go down and easing her discomfort. When the doctor comes out, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig rush to ask about Peppa's condition. Then everyone goes together into the room to see her, and there she is. Peppa is feeling better and sleeping peacefully. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig finally smile again. They laugh softly with relief. They were so worried. But luckily, Peppa is absolutely fine. On the weekend, the whole family goes to the supermarket. Mom Pig holds a shopping list. Big Sister Pig helps choose vegetables. Little Pig notices the toy section. Little Pig slows down, then stops completely. Meanwhile, the rest of the family turns into another aisle. Little Pig turns around and realizes no one is there. Little Pig pushes the cart around, looking left and right. At the other aisle, Mom Pig realizes Little Pig is missing. Dad Pig quickly heads back the way they came. Little Pig stands still near a shelf, feeling worried. Big Sister Pig spots the familiar small cart. Aha! The family finds Little Pig. Little Pig hugs Mom Pig. Mom gently reminds Little Pig to stay close. Dad suggests continuing the shopping together. Little Pig holds Big Sister Pig's hand. The family adds a few more items to the cart. Mom checks the list again. They head to the checkout counter. Little Pig stands calmly this time. After paying, the family walks to the parking lot. Little Pig looks back at the supermarket and smiles. A moment of distraction can cause worry, but staying calm and remembering family advice keeps everyone safe and together.
Peppa Pig family camping trip. Today, Peppa and her family are going on a camping trip in the countryside. And everyone is very excited to explore nature together. George tries to carry a box too, even though it is a little bit big for him. Daddy Pig carries a big box of camping things across the living room. There are lots of useful things packed inside for their special trip. Soon, the whole family walks outside together to begin their countryside adventure. Daddy Pig carefully lifts the boxes and puts them into the car. Now the car is full of camping equipment for their countryside adventure. Everyone feels excited as they get closer to the camping place. At the campsite, there is a small playground surrounded by tall green trees and colorful flowers. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig carry their camping bags across the grassy campsite. Daddy Pig opens the suitcase and takes out the camping tent. Peppa helps Daddy Pig by holding one of the tent poles. Suddenly, a little gust of wind blows across the campsite and makes the tent wobble. Daddy Pig quickly holds the rope to stop the tent from moving. Mummy Pig spreads the ground sheet neatly on the grass. Mummy Pig puts the picnic basket down on the ground sheet. The family gathers together beside their tent and picnic things. It is a wonderful camping trip for the whole family.
The sweet-making machine of Professor Lion. Today, Peppa and her friends visit Professor Leo's lab. Where sugar, flour, and curiosity blend into one. Professor Leo proudly declares, each button creates a culinary masterpiece. Naturally, no one dares to press one. Yet, no one's sure whether to eat first or clean first. A moment both delicious and sticky. It turns out every invention comes with a little chaos and a little sweetness at the end.
Peppa Pig and the treasure in the dark cave. Yahoo!
Go, go, go!
Fixing up a new study. Corner one afternoon, the whole family gathered to fix up a small study corner for the little brother. They wanted to create a cozy and comfortable space where he could read, write, and learn happily. Dad carefully measured the space and began building a small wooden desk, his hands moving steadily with patience and care. Mum went out to choose bright, soft-coloured curtains to bring more light and warmth into the room. Meanwhile, the sister sorted through the books and notebooks, arranging them neatly on the shelves. The little brother stood nearby, quietly watching every small change with curious eyes. He followed each movement closely, his face filled with excitement and anticipation. From time to time, he asked small questions, eager to understand what everyone was doing. The room slowly transformed, becoming brighter, tidier, and more welcoming. When everything was finally ready, the little brother sat down at his new desk for the first time. His eyes sparkled with joy as he gently touched the smooth surface, taking in every detail. Dad smiled and softly patted his head, proud of their shared effort. Mum carefully adjusted the study lamp, making sure the light was just right for his eyes. The sister hung a few small drawings and colourful pictures on the wall, adding cheerful touches to the space. The once ordinary corner of the room had turned into a warm and inspiring study area.
Cleaning the house with Peppa Pig and friends. Inside the bus, Peppa and her friends are chatting and laughing together. Suddenly, George points to the side of the road. Oh, look over there! It's Miss Rabbit! She is standing beside a bush of flowers. Mr. Panda stops the bus. Peppa and George hop off and run toward Miss Rabbit. But what is Miss Rabbit doing here? Oh, Miss Rabbit is admiring the beautiful flowers. Peppa invites Miss Rabbit to ride the bus with them. The bus is happily rolling along the road. Soon, the bus arrives at Susie Sheep's house. Here is Susie Sheep. She is busy cleaning her washing machine. The room looks a little messy. Peppa and her friends decide to help Susie clean up. Peppa is tidying the books and putting them neatly on the shelf. George is putting away the toys. Candy Cat is sweeping the dusty floor. Wow! Freddy Fox is carrying a big pile of things. And he is even balancing a ball on his head. Freddy Fox and George put the toys neatly into a box. George runs over to help Peppa move a heavy dumbbell. Peppa and George give each other a happy high five. Look at that! The room is now clean and tidy. All the toys and items are neatly put away. The floor has been swept and cleaned until it shines. Miss Rabbit gives everyone a sweet candy as a reward. All the friends laugh happily together. Working together makes everything easier.
Peppa Pig and the hospital incident. It's a peaceful morning, and Mummy Pig is riding with Peppa and George in Mr. Panda's car. Today, Mr. Panda is taking the family to the hospital for Mummy Pig's pregnancy checkup.
Bye-bye!
When they arrive, Dr. Dog and Nurse Rabbit come out to welcome them. But something seems wrong. Nurse Rabbit doesn't look well at all. Oh no, she suddenly faints. Peppa rushes over to check on her. While Mummy Pig gently wipes the sweat from Nurse Rabbit's forehead. Dr. Dog quickly goes to get some medicine, hoping it will help her recover. At last, everyone breathes a sigh of relief, and the whole group shares a warm, happy smile now that everything is okay. The BBQ fire mishap. Today, Dog Chef is making the biggest BBQ ever!
Aha!
Daddy Pig knows exactly who to call, and Peppa couldn't be prouder to hit the alarm.
Okay.
The rescue team arrives faster than the smell of burnt sausages. From that day, everyone remembered, BBQs are fun, but safety makes them taste even better. Playing badminton afternoon. At an outdoor badminton court, surrounded by many trees, a light breeze blows. The whole family walks onto the court. Dad carries the badminton bag. Mom holds a water bottle. The older sister and younger brother run ahead. Looking around excitedly, Dad and the sister stand on one side. Mom and the younger brother stand on the other. Two teams face each other. The match begins. Dad hits the shuttle gently. The sister returns it neatly. Mom hits it back. The shuttle flies high. The younger brother runs after it, misses the shot. The shuttle falls onto the grass. He bends down to pick it up, runs back to his position, grinning. The match continues. The shuttle flies back and forth, sometimes high, sometimes low. The sister hits harder. The shuttle flies off course. The whole family turns to look. The shuttle lands near a bush. The younger brother runs over to pick it up. The shuttle is stuck on a low branch. He can't reach it. Dad walks over, lifts his racket, and gently knocks it. The shuttle falls down. The match continues. Mom hits a spinning shot. The shuttle drops close to the ground. Dad bends to return it, hits back a bit too quickly. The shuttle flies back onto his own head. The sister covers her mouth, laughing. The younger brother bursts out laughing. Dad scratches his head and keeps playing. After a while, everyone starts to get tired. Their movements slow down. The shuttle falls to the ground. No one runs after it right away. The family stops, breathing heavily. The family sits down on a stone bench. Rackets placed beside them. The younger brother holds the shuttlecock, spinning it in his hand, smiling. The wind blows through the park, leaves rustle. The afternoon passes by gently. Peppa's Sweet Shop.
Peppa and George are opening their very own candy shop.
They decorate the shop with balloons and ribbons. look at all the colorful candies. Oops, George dropped some candy. They clean up together, and their first customer has arrived. Susie picks her favorite cake. George packed the treats carefully.
Oh,
Business is going well. More friends are coming to visit. The candy shop is full of happy customers. Peppa and George are busy serving their friends. The shelves are almost empty. The last cupcake is sold. What a success! Peppa tidies up after a busy day. Everything is sold out. After a busy day, George takes a little rest. The shop closes for the day. And they are proud of their sweet little shop. What a wonderful day at Peppa's Sweet Shop. See you next time. Peppa and the Lighthouse Adventure. Today, Peppa's family is going on a boat trip. They are very excited to visit a special lighthouse. A very large boat was anchored at the harbor. George quickly got on board.
Hello! Let's go!
The boat glides over the waves. The cool wind and the sparkling sea make the trip even more fun. Suddenly, some seagulls fly by. Peppa and George waves and laughs with delight. There it is! The lighthouse appears, tall and shining over the wide blue sea. Daddy Pig opened the door, and the whole Peppa Pig family went inside the lighthouse. Peppa and George follow Mummy and Daddy Pig up the stairs. It's a long climb, but everyone is having fun. Wow! Such a huge lighthouse lamp! From the top, the ocean looks endless. Peppa sees how the lighthouse guides boats safely across the sea. It was a wonderful trip. Peppa's family had a day full of joy and adventure at the lighthouse. Peppa visits the museum. Peppa and her family drive to the big museum on a sunny morning. They park the car and walk excitedly to the entrance. Giant dinosaur statues welcomes them at the gate. Inside, the museum halls are bright and full of wonders. Peppa looks up in awe at the massive dinosaur skeleton. George points and giggles at the dinosaur's big teeth. The family moves to the ancient history section. Old pots, tools, and golden crowns sparkle behind glass. They enter the space gallery filled with stars and planets. Everyone gazes at a model of the solar system. Next is the future technology room with robots. The robot wave as the family walks by.
I love you.
Peppa claps happily, watching the robot dance. Daddy Pig laughs, taking pictures of everyone. A bell rings. The museum is about to close. The family slowly walks toward the exit, smiling. Outside, the sun begins to set behind the museum. Peppa waves goodbye. A perfect day of discovery ends. Hide and seek. It's a bright and sunny day at the garden. The friends are looking for something fun to play. Peppa has an idea. Let's play hide and seek. Susie begins to count while everyone hides. Peppa finds a perfect spot behind the big tree. George hides quietly inside the toy box. Danny sneaks behind the garden fence. Susie opens her eyes. Time to find the others. The garden is quiet, but not too quiet. Something is moving over there. The first one is found. What a surprise! Now, who's hiding behind those leaves? A curly little tail gives someone away. And Peppa is found. The game is getting exciting. Only one friend left to find. Oops, that was too easy to spot. Everyone laughs and celebrates together. Peppa wants to play one more round. And off they go again, running in all directions. It's another wonderful day of fun and laughter for Peppa and her friends. Peppa's music class. A bright morning shines through the window of the music room. Peppa and her friends hurry inside, full of excitement. Miss Gazelle enters, smiling gently as she rings a tiny bell. Everyone sits down, eyes filled with curiosity. A big box opens. Inside are colorful instruments. Peppa spots a red guitar and gasps with joy. Danny taps a drum. Boom, boom. Rebecca blows the trumpet. Toot! What a funny sound! Laughter fills the room like music itself. Miss Gazelle raises her hand, keeping a soft rhythm. Peppa strums her little guitar proudly. Danny plays faster. The beat gets lively. Susie shakes her tambourine with a happy grin. Together they create a cheerful, messy melody. Colorful notes float in the air like bubbles. The music slowly fades into a calm tune. Miss Gazelle smiles, clapping her hands softly. The children bow together, their hearts full of joy. As the bell rings, Peppa waves goodbye, her little guitar still shining in the sun. Let's do housework. Today, Peppa and her family are helping at home. Everyone has a little job to do. Let's see how they work together. Peppa wipes the table, George puts away his toys, Daddy Pig cleans the floor, and Mommy Pig dusts the bookshelf. Working together makes everything easier and more fun. The house is clean and tidy. Well done, everyone! Peppa in art class. It's art time at Peppa's school. Everyone is excited to paint today. Madame Gazelle shows them today's theme, the rainbow. They all pick their favorite colors. Oops! Peppa makes a colorful mess. Susie helps Peppa clean the paint. Danny discovers a new color. Peppa spots a real rainbow. Everyone runs to see it. Peppa gets an idea. She mixes all the colors together and paints a beautiful rainbow. Everyone adds their own touch.
Wow!
Madame Gazelle hangs their masterpiece. They all clap proudly. Peppa giggles at her painty hands. Their classroom is full of laughter. They admire their rainbow art. Peppa's rainbow shines inside and out.
George turns into a giant. Tide is a bright morning at Peppa Pig's house. Daddy Pig turns off the television. Suddenly, ring ring, the phone is ringing. Daddy Pig answers the phone. It is Madame Gazelle. Something unusual has happened at the classroom. Daddy Pig calls Peppa. They quickly get into their car and drive to the school.
Huh?
Madame Gazelle is waiting in the classroom. Daddy Pig and Peppa arrive to see what happened. Wow! George has turned into a giant. George is now very big inside the classroom. When George moves, the whole classroom shakes a little. Freddy Fox and Susie Sheep hold onto George's hands. George gently lifts them high into the air. George is very strong. Dr. Dog arrives with a special medicine. George takes the medicine. George slowly shrinks smaller and smaller until he is back to normal again. It was a surprising day at school. George will never forget the day he became a giant.
On the weekend, Dad Pig promises to take the two sisters to buy toys.
Yahoo!
The family arrives at a colorful toy store. Little Pig runs to the toy car section. Big Sister Pig chooses a building block set. Dad Pig agrees to buy one toy for each child. The family brings the toys to the checkout counter. The cashier announces the total amount. Dad Pig checks one pocket, then another. He realizes his wallet is not with him. Little Pig's eyes widen. Dad Pig remembers leaving the wallet on the table at home. Little Pig looks at the toy sadly. Mom Pig gently explains they need to go back home first. Little Pig slowly places the toy back on the shelf. The family leaves the store. On the way home, Dad Pig apologizes for forgetting. Big Sister Pig suggests checking pockets before leaving next time. Little Pig nods in agreement. At home, Dad Pig finds the wallet on the table. Dad Pig holds up the wallet. The family decides to return to the toy store. Little Pig runs inside with excitement.
Yippee!
This time, Dad Pig pays successfully. A small mistake can delay a happy plan, but staying calm and fixing it together brings the joy back again.
Building a mini hot air balloon. A quiet afternoon in the yard. Dad is fixing an old fan. The little brother is playing with a plastic bag, blowing it up and letting it float. The bag rises for a moment, then falls. The boy watches it carefully. His eyes light up. He runs to Dad, points at the sky, then points at the plastic bag. Dad pauses and thinks. Mum and sister look over, curious. The family starts collecting materials. Old fabric is brought out. Colourful plastic bags are stacked together. The fan is cleaned. Tape and strings are spread across the floor. Dad cuts the fabric. Mum sews the edges. Sister measures and writes notes. Brother holds things and passes the tape. Slowly, the fabric becomes a big round shape. Plastic bags are attached underneath. The small fan is fixed at the opening. The sun begins to set. A gentle breeze blows. They carry the balloon to the rooftop. Dad checks the strings. Mum holds the body. Sister prepares a timer. Brother stands ready, eyes wide. Dad turns on the fan. Air flows inside. The balloon slowly expands. It sways in the wind. Everyone holds their breath. Dad releases his hands. The mini balloon lifts, slowly, rising off the ground. Brother jumps with joy. Sister claps. Mum smiles with her hand over her mouth. Dad watches proudly. They bring out chairs, sit together on the rooftop. The sky turns orange and pink. Clouds drift slowly. Cool air flows. Brother leans on Mum's shoulder. Sister rests near Dad. Dad points at the sky. They all look up together.
Let's join the marathon. Today, Peppa and her friends are joining a fun marathon in the sunny park. Everyone is excited to run together. They warm up and stretch, ready for the big race. Even Daddy Pig joins in. Mommy Pig blows the whistle.
Let's go!
And off they go. Peppa runs fast with Susie by her side. George is a little tired, but Peppa cheers him on.
Go!
Peppa stops to help her friend Rebecca Rabbit. Daddy Pig slows down but keeps smiling. Time for a little drink break. Everyone's having fun together. George pedals as fast as he can. They're almost at the finish line. Look, they're finishing together. Everyone gets a shiny medal. Because in Peppa's world, everyone's a winner. Building a house from branches, sunlight filters through the canopy, casting patches of light on the ground. The air is cool, carrying the scent of wood and dry leaves. The whole family walks into a small clearing. Dad looks around and nods, choosing a spot to build the shelter. Mom and the sister smile and start gathering leaves. The younger brother runs ahead excitedly, his eyes bright with curiosity. Dad collects sturdy branches, stacking them neatly. The sister gathers large leaves, shaking off the dirt. Mom ties the leaves into small bundles. The younger brother discovers a very large branch. He hugs it with both arms and tries to lift it. The branch is too heavy. He drags it a few steps, then stops. He grits his teeth and tries harder, his face turning red. The branch moves slightly, then won't budge. Dad notices and runs over immediately. He bends down and lifts the branch together with his son. Father and son work in sync, carrying the branch back to the building spot. The younger brother looks at Dad and smiles proudly. Building the shelter. The branches are raised into a frame. Dad holds the main structure steady. The younger brother passes over smaller branches. Mom and the sister bring the leaves. Together, they layer the leaves onto the roof, stacking them carefully. A light breeze rustles through the leaves. The small shelter slowly takes shape, simple but sturdy. The sky suddenly darkens. A raindrop lands on a leaf. Tap, tap. The rain quickly grows heavier. The family looks up in surprise. Dad signals quickly. Everyone runs into the newly built shelter. Rain pours down outside. The leaves on the roof tremble, but still keep the rain out. Inside, the family sits close together. The younger brother stares out at the rain, wide-eyed. The sister covers her mouth, laughing softly. Dad exhales in relief, glancing up to check the roof. Mom opens her bag. She takes out fruit and shares it with everyone. The family eats fruit while listening to rain tapping on the leafy roof. The first trip to the beach. The car stops near the beach. Waves murmur in the distance, and the breeze carries the salty scent of the sea. Dad takes a deep breath, shading his eyes with one hand as he looks out at the ocean. Mom smiles, holding the younger brother's hand. The sister runs a few steps ahead, her eyes sparkling with excitement. A small wave rolls onto the shore. The water touches the younger brother's feet. He startles and quickly turns back, hiding close against Mom. He clings tightly, his face slightly worried. Mom bends down, hugging him close and gently patting his back to reassure him. With her other hand, she holds a coconut with a straw, takes a sip, and looks completely relaxed. The waves continue to lap softly, no longer as scary as before. After a while, the younger brother peeks out at the sandy beach. His eyes stop on a shimmering seashell. He hesitates for a second, then lets go of Mom's hand. He runs over and bends down to pick up the shell. His face lights up. He hops around happily, holding the shell up high to show off his treasure. Seeing this, the sister runs over, sits down to play with the sand, piling it into small mounds, laughing with delight. Mom takes out her phone, flips it to take photos. The two children against a backdrop of blue, sea, golden sand, and soft sunlight. Meanwhile, Dad goes to find a lounge chair, pulls it closer, lies down to sunbathe, hands behind his head, looking completely relaxed. After a while, the younger brother sneaks a look toward Dad. He bends down and scoops up a handful of seawater. Splash! He throws water at Dad and bursts into laughter. Dad jolts upright in surprise. Before he can react, Mom steps in and splashes lightly too. The sister joins in, cheering and splashing again and again. Water flies everywhere. Dad pretends to fight back, and the whole family runs around, splashing water and laughing together.
A night without electricity. One evening, while the whole family was having dinner together, the electricity suddenly went out. The lights flickered once and then disappeared, leaving the house in complete darkness. For a brief moment, everyone froze. Then Dad calmly stood up, found a few candles and lit them. A soft golden glow slowly spread across the room, bringing warmth back to their faces. The family moved closer together, sitting in a small circle around the table. Mum began telling stories from her childhood about simple days filled with laughter and small adventures. Dad added a few humorous details, making everyone chuckle. The sister and little brother listened attentively, their eyes shining in the soft light. Outside, the night was quiet, and only the faint sound of wind brushing against the windows could be heard. Inside, the calm atmosphere made time seem to slow down. Without phones, television, or bright lights, everyone focused entirely on one another. As the night went on, the little brother started to feel sleepy. He leaned his head gently against Mum's shoulder, his eyes slowly closing. Mum smiled and wrapped an arm around him, rocking him slightly. In that flickering candlelight, the family felt a deep sense of comfort and closeness, as if the darkness outside had only made their bond shine brighter. Though the power outage was unexpected, it turned into a quiet and unforgettable moment. A simple evening filled with warmth, love, and togetherness.
The Mysterious Cave Adventure. In the cool afternoon behind the mountain, they stopped in front of a dark cave entrance, hidden between large rocks. Dad put on his backpack and turned on his flashlight. Mom checked the water bottles and snacks one more time. The sister tightened her shoelaces and adjusted her jacket. The little brother stood close to everyone, excited but a little nervous. The family slowly stepped into the cave. The flashlight moved across the walls, revealing strange shapes and shining crystals. Suddenly, a group of bats flew out from a dark corner. Their wings brushed past the air with a rushing sound. The little brother jumped and held Mom's hand tightly. Mom gently patted his head to calm him. Dad laughed softly and told everyone it was okay. They continued walking deeper into the cave. The light from the entrance slowly disappeared behind them. Only the beam of the flashlight guided their way. After a while, they reached a place where the cave split into 3 paths. Each path looked dark and silent. No one knew which one was safe. Dad knelt down and studied the ground. He noticed small watermarks leading toward one tunnel. He pointed in that direction. The family trusted him and followed. Behind a large stone pillar, something unusual appeared. An old wooden chest lay half covered by dust and small rocks. It looked like it had been there for a very long time. The family gathered around it. Mom slowly lifted the lid. Inside were many sparkling stones in different colors. Blue, green, yellow, and purple lights reflected around the cave. The little brother clapped his hands in joy. The sister carefully picked up one shining stone and smiled. Before leaving, they took some photos together beside the chest. They promised to remember this adventure forever. Rescuing a kite stuck on power lines. Afternoon, an open lot near a residential area. Clear sky, a gentle breeze. The whole family stands on the grassy field. Dad holds the kite string reel. Mom stands beside him, looking up at the sky. The older sister holds the kite. The younger brother stands nearby, excited. The sister lifts the kite high. Dad gives a signal. The kite is released. It rises into the air, gliding smoothly with the wind. The younger brother runs in the kite's direction, laughing happily. The kite flies higher, sways gently. The kite drifts off course, heading toward the power lines. The kite gets caught on the power lines. The kite trembles lightly, hanging in midair. The whole family stops immediately. Dad raises his hand, signaling everyone to stay back. Dad looks around, spots a long wooden pole. Dad picks up the pole, lifts the pole, and gently nudges the kite string. The kite shakes hard, but it doesn't fall. Dad changes his position. Tries again. The kite is still stuck. It only sways slightly. Dad lowers the pole, shakes his head. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blows. The kite is yanked hard by the wind, breaks free from the power lines, and shoots upward. The strong wind carries the kite for a short distance, then slowly fades. The kite wobbles, drops quickly. The younger brother stands below, raises both hands instinctively. The kite floats down and lands perfectly in his hands. The younger brother hugs the kite tightly, grinning brightly. The older sister claps. Mom exhales in relief. Dad sets the wooden pole down, smiling. One quiet afternoon, the pig family is standing together in the garden. Suddenly, a strange pop sound comes from the ground. The sound is very strange, and it sounds very serious. Daddy Pig decides to check carefully. Daddy Pig thinks the ground might be making the noise. Mummy Pig feels that something is not quite right. Pig is very curious and listens very, very closely. Big Pig tries a different idea. And then they realize the sound is not coming from the ground.
Uh-oh.
Boom!
It turns out the sound is coming from Daddy Pig's shoes.
Uh-oh.
Inside the shoe, there is only a small air pocket.
Oh.
And that is why sometimes the strangest sounds come from the most ordinary things. One lovely morning, the Pig family is getting ready to go outside. Daddy Pig starts looking for the hat. Daddy Pig wants to wear his favorite hat. But Daddy Pig cannot find his hat anywhere. Daddy Pig thinks maybe the hat is hiding.
Huh?
Mummy Pig helps look for the hat. Little Pig wants to help too.
Huh?
Big Pig has a different idea. Everyone stops and looks carefully. It turns out the hat has been there the whole time. Daddy Pig was already wearing his hat and did not even notice. And that is why sometimes the thing we are looking for is right on our head.
Huh?
Paper Boat Day. The river flows slowly, sunlight shimmering on the water. The whole family sits together by the riverbank. Colorful sheets of paper lie in front of each person, folding the boats. The older sister sits upright, folding her paper carefully. The creases are neat and straight, forming a small, well-balanced boat. Dad holds a larger sheet of paper. He folds slowly, using firm hands. His boat turns out big and sturdy, with a wide base. The younger brother sits nearby, struggling a bit. One side folds crooked, the other gets wrinkled. His boat looks misshapen, with a bent tip and uneven sides. The younger brother looks at his boat, then at the other two. He scratches his head. Shyly, Mom sits behind them, watching everything, smiling gently. The family stands up and walks closer to the water. The 3 paper boats are placed carefully on the river's surface. Dad gives a signal with his eyes. All 3 gently release their boats at the same time. The boats begin to drift with the current. Watching closely, the sister's boat moves straight and steady, but slowly. Dad's boat is heavier, stable, but it doesn't go very far. The younger brother's boat wobbles at first. Everyone thinks it might sink soon. Suddenly, a small current nudges the crooked boat toward the middle of the river. It glides faster, pulling ahead of the others. The younger brother's eyes widen. He runs along the riverbank, following his boat. The sister and dad stop and stare. They look at each other in surprise. The younger brother's boat travels the farthest, becoming a tiny dot in the distance. The younger brother jumps up, pointing excitedly. The sister laughs. Dad claps loudly. Mom steps closer and gently pats the younger brother's head. The whole family stands together, clapping and laughing happily. The afternoon sun paints the riverbank in warm gold. George lifts weights. Today, George wants to be strong like Daddy Pig, starting with some super light weights. George feels as strong as a little dinosaur.
Huh?
George decides to try something a little more challenging. Daddy Pig thinks George is ready for an upgraded workout. Oops! It seems the upgraded weights were a bit too much. And so George keeps training lighter, safer, and much more fun. The Rainbow Egg Hunt.
Wow! Whoa! Yahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo!
After the rain, something magical appears. Rainbow footprints. But where do they lead? Peppa has never seen eggs so colorful. It's like someone painted the sky right on them. Oh. Rainbow eggs don't want to be caught. Maybe they're playing hide and seek. It turns out magic is just nature smiling after the rain. That day, Peppa learned not all treasures are meant to be taken home. Mom's fish dish, a quiet midday at home. Dad and the little brother sit on the floor. From the kitchen, Mom is cooking. Steam rises, and the smell of food spreads through the house. Dad breathes in softly, turns toward the kitchen, his eyes lighting up. Mom steps out, wiping her hands on her apron. She looks at Dad and gestures. We need fish. Dad runs to the corner of the house and grabs the fishing rod. Dad gets into the car, ready to start the engine. The little brother stands in the yard, hesitates for a second, then runs after him, raising his hand to ask to come along. Dad looks into the rearview mirror. The car stops. Dad opens the door, bends down, and nods for him to get in. The car rolls away from the house. A quiet afternoon. The father and son arrive at a small fishing pond. The father sets down a chair and casts his fishing line into the water. The son stands behind him, curiously watching the float. The float stays still, not moving. The father looks at the float and lets out a light sigh. The son tilts his head, looking around the surface of the pond. He walks over and picks up a branch by the shore. He snaps off a few twigs and ties on a simple string. The son squats down and lowers his homemade fishing rod into the water. The father glances over and smiles. The homemade float trembles slightly. The son startles, gripping it tightly with both hands. Splash! A fish jumps out of the water. The father jumps up and runs over to help. The two laugh loudly and hug in excitement. The father holds the fish. The son carries a small bucket. They leave the pond together, walking away full of enthusiasm. Back home, the mother stands at the stove, frying the fish until golden and crispy. The whole family sits around the table. Father, mother, and son eat together, smiling, warm and happy. The family hikes up the hill. The morning sky is clear. The whole family stops their car in front of a small hill, covered in green grass, with a winding trail leading up to the top. The family begins walking up the gentle slope. The younger brother keeps running and jumping, picking up stones and lightly tossing them downhill. Suddenly, slip! The younger brother loses his footing, his body tipping backward. Immediately, Dad reaches out, gripping tightly and pulling the younger brother back to his feet. Dad pats his head, signaling him to slow down. After climbing a bit further, the sister pants, hands resting on her knees. Mom stops and spreads a small cloth on a rock. She opens the food container, fruit and small snacks. The sister sits down, eating happily. The younger brother eats while swinging his legs. Dad drinks some water, looking around at the lush green hills. Suddenly, buzz! A small swarm of bees flies out from a nearby bush. The whole family jumps up in surprise. Dad signals everyone to run. Mom pulls the sister along. The younger brother runs behind them, panicked. The bees chase them for a short distance, a humorous moment. While running, the younger brother drops a piece of fruit behind him. Immediately, the bees change direction, swarming around the fruit. The family stops and turns back to look. The bees are no longer chasing them. Dad lets out a sigh of relief. Mom bursts into laughter. The sister covers her mouth, giggling. The younger brother stands with his hands on his hips, extremely proud scene change. The whole family stands on top of the small hill. Dad stands behind them, his hands resting on both children's shoulders. Mom stands beside them, her hair gently flowing in the wind. The sister smiles, all her tiredness forgotten. The younger brother stretches his arms wide, pretending to be a conqueror of the mountain peak. One night camping in the woods. Today, Peppa's family is going camping in the green forest. Daddy Pig puts up the tent, while Peppa and George help with the sleeping bags. Mommy Pig prepares a tasty meal outside the tent. The pig's parents arrange the food, and Peppa and George pick up firewood. With the fire crackling, the family roasts marshmallows and laughs together. Starry sky, Daddy Pig shows everyone. Peppa and George look up and learn to spot the shining stars. Daddy Pig tells a joke that makes the whole family burst into laughter. Peppa and George are sleeping in a cozy tent. Mother Pig is cleaning up, and Father Pig is adding more wood to make the fire burn brighter. The camping day ends with warm giggles and a good night's sleep in the little tent. A day at the farm. Early morning. The yard is still quiet. Soft sunlight falls onto the ground. The whole family stands in the yard. Dad adjusts the items to make sure they're neat. Mom takes one last look and nods. The older sister and younger brother stand by the car. Each wears a small backpack. They look around, faces full of excitement. Dad signals that everything is ready. The car starts moving, leaving the yard behind. Inside the car, the siblings keep looking out the window, clearly delighted. The car slows down and stops in front of a small farm. The family gets out of the car. They pause for a moment. Mom looks around the farm. Dad stands by the car, observing. The sister and brother run into the yard. Their feet touch the grass, stepping back and forth. They laugh happily, running around the yard. Dad signals that it's time to work. Dad carries a bowl of grain and scatters it on the ground. A flock of chickens gathers, pecking nonstop. Mom goes into the vegetable garden, bends bends down to harvest bunch by bunch, placing them neatly into a basket. The sister walks over to the egg nest, bends down to pick up each egg, and carefully places them into a basket. The younger brother curiously runs after the ducks. The ducks quack and scatter. He chases after them. After running for a while, he slows down, then stops. He rests his hands on his knees and pants heavily. After a morning of work, the family sits to rest under a tree. The sister sits, gazing at the distant fields. The brother lies on the grass. The sun climbs higher in the sky. And the family stands up, says goodbye to the farm, and gets back into the car to leave.